was straight through the uprights you see behind me. That freshman Orange place kicker Ross Krautman kicked the Orange to bowl eligibility, their 7th win in 2010, and the one that makes them bowl eligible for the first time since 2004. Players and coaches after the game tried to maintain that Doug Marrone business as usual attitude, but it was fairly clear from the level of emotion that this wasn't just any regular win. This one was the Rick Jackson show. The senior had 17 points and 16 boards in 37 minutes. He's been Mr. Consistent all year, and that only continued tonight. It's not about looking back, it's about looking ahead. The Orange go down to Boston College 16-7 on senior day. The Orange win the big one on the national stage. They beat the Michigan State Spartans 72-58. Eric Forman, Ryan Coletti here to break it all down. And Ryan, the Orange's 2-3 zone was almost unbeatable tonight. The Orange are 4-1 for the first time since 1999. Unbelievable energy on the field, and especially in the locker room after the game. A large part of the zone you didn't see too much of tonight. Orange center Fab Melo only played in 6 minutes tonight. His left Achilles was hurting him last week. Now it's his right Achilles. When I asked him after the game when it would be completely healthy, he said in a week against Iona, he should be 100%. From the Carrier Dome, Eric Forman, Citrus TV. Coach Dick Biddle, first of all, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's good to be here.
All right, now, I was speaking to Coach Marrone this morning, and he referred to you as a regional coaching legend, comparing you to the likes of Joe Paterno, Coach Ford at Albany. What do you think of a comment like that?
Well, they need to pay me like they pay those guys.
Did the players really feel how big this was?
Oh, absolutely. It's a statement win. And I think what they recognize is that and there were recruits here watching the game today, for those recruits, it's huge. I mean, think of the two guys that had interceptions on B.J. Daniels today. One of them was Jeremy Wilkes. Guy went to high school like 8 miles from here.
It was an excellent atmosphere after the game. It's the fact that it's their 7th win. They're finally going to the bowl. The seniors, they haven't been there yet. They tried to maintain that business as usual attitude, but you know, in the end, it's a great win, and they're going to enjoy it for these next 24 or so hours.
Gross also emphasized the home game field that he's hoping to see, likening Yankee Stadium to Madison Square Garden, the field that the basketball team gets while playing there. Some fast facts: SU was 5-1 at the old Yankee Stadium. That includes the first ever football game ever played at the old stadium in 1923, a 3-0 victory over Pitt. When asked about Melo's strong performance against Cornell amidst those early season struggles, Orange head coach Jim Boeheim responded that Fab needed to focus on getting up and down the court. When he can't do that, that's when he comes out of the game. Eric Forman, Citrus TV. From Madison Square Garden here in New York City, I'm Eric Forman. From the Carrier Dome, Eric Forman. Rutgers Stadium, I'm Eric Forman. From Raymond James Stadium here in Tampa, I'm Eric Forman. From the Carrier Dome, Eric Forman, Citrus TV. Colgate Junior forward Yao Jiaoyu is a bright spot for a struggling 0-7 team. He leads the Raiders in scoring and rebounds per contest. It's that performance that has earned Jiaoyu respect from his teammates.
Yao's really stepped up. He's been our offensive leading scorer past a year, 2 years.
Outside, I've never seen him yell at anyone, never seen him get mad, but when he's on the court, a whole new personality.
He's just a really good scoring threat, and he brings a lot of athleticism and hard work to the floor.
While Yao left his hometown of Atlanta to come up to Colgate to play basketball, his parents are from Ghana, so naturally, his favorite sport growing up was soccer.
Actually, if I wasn't playing basketball right now, I'd probably be playing soccer. I played soccer since I was about 4 years old, and I stopped right before high school, then I transitioned over to basketball.
Jiaoyu's past soccer aspirations aren't unheard of in the Syracuse area. After becoming too tall to play, freshman Orange center Fab Melo realized he needed a change as well.
Just a transition from soccer to basketball, you wouldn't think there's a whole lot, because in soccer you're using your feet, as where basketball you're using your hands more, but the footwork definitely plays a big role in that. I had a growth spurt, so that obviously helped me out a little bit, and I felt I might have a future in basketball, so I decided to stick with that.
Jiaoyu chose to stick with basketball, but his brother Kofi currently plays soccer for the University of Alabama, Birmingham. It shows just how diverse a skill set the Colgate Junior has and how he could be a major threat in Colgate's Saturday contest with Syracuse. Eric Forman, Citrus TV. Last weekend, the Orange left Seattle bruised but certainly not broken. This week, we preview Maine. We'll talk to the voice of Maine football, Rich Kimball, and our analyst will tell you exactly what the Orange need to do in order to beat down the Black Bears. Huge Countdown is up next. warm welcome inside to another edition of Q's Countdown. I'm Eric Forman, my analyst to my left, your right, Chris Lewis, Eric Silverman. We'll get to you guys in a second, but first, wide receiver Aaron Weaver had 6 catches and 88 receiving yards on the year. The highlight was a 23-yard score against Akron. That was SU's first touchdown of the season. Weaver's done. Torn ACL in his right knee. He suffered the injury in practice on a non-contact drill Tuesday. Weaver, who transferred from Hofstra during the offseason, will require surgery for the tear. Now, we'll bring back our analysts. Guys, what does this injury mean for the 2010 squad? The Orange certainly had a lot to think about on that near 6-hour flight from Seattle to Syracuse last Saturday night. A lot of pieces on the Orange offense and defense needed tweaking and special attention from the coaching staff this past week. The defense allowed 41 points, mostly through the air, and the offense didn't really help after the first quarter. Orange quarterback Ryan Nassib has his own take on what the Orange need to fix coming off Washington.
Just to keep going, second quarter, third.
I think that's the biggest question for them this week.
And Rich, from that, what does Maine have to do in order to shock many, I'd say, and surprise the Orange on their home turf?
I think it's the basics that any team likes to do.
The biggest thing you've learned so far from Big East play?
Well, the biggest thing I learned is sort of a disappointment that
picked 6th in the preseason poll, unranked before the year. No credit given to a team that lost their top 3 scorers from the previous season. And yet, with earlier losses in the data by Kansas and Kentucky, the Orange find themselves in a unique position. Win convincingly over 7th-ranked Nova and potentially take the top spot in the new rankings. To the Dome now. 39,616 on hand for this one. That'd be a record, and it'd be on the national stage. College Game Day, they decided to show up. Bob Knight. No early momentum, though, for SU. Scotty Reynolds was pretty hot early. However, this is Corey Stokes. 23-14 Nova midway through the first half. The Orange, however, they're not going to lay down in this one. Scoop Jardine would hit this 3. SU within 6 a little bit later in the first half. And this comeback would climax here 31-30 after the Christo dunk with 4 minutes to go in the first half. And the momentum would continue for SU. Andy with the dribble drive, the dish to Rick, 38-33 at that point. 2 minutes before halftime, second half now, Wes Johnson from Rick Jackson with the 3. Jay Wright noted after the game, SU's balance, 52-43 at that point. I would definitely agree with that. SU getting the ball around. Scotty Reynolds trying to get Nova back in the game. Not really working. 54-48 at that point. That would really be it for Nova. Then Andy Routens from the outside. 12 points and 8 dimes from Andy on the day. Andy helping out in other ways too. Missing this 3, but AO mopping up, slamming it home. SU stretching the lead to double digits at this point. And one of the biggest aspects of this game is, again, balance. Jay Wright noted it. Success on the boards, create those second chance points. The difference in this game, if you're going to miss 3 shots, you might as well rebound them all. AO puts it back. SU icing at this point. Chris Joseph, the step back jumper. 80-62 with 6 minutes to go. Chris Joe, 33 minutes, 16 points on the night. Late in the game, defense optional for Nova. Rick Jackson just kind of dunks in the middle of Maptuyaro and Corey Fisher. They just kind of watch. SU wins this one. The Orange win a pivotal matchup in the Dome and clinch at least a share of the Big East regular season title. The Orange